Hi, and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today we have a fairly easy job. We have a 2004 a Honda Accord, and we're going to be just changing the drive belt tensioner assembly, because when this vehicle is running you can actually hear a buzzing noise coming out of the pulley. I'm going to bring you up there. I'm going to show you how to determine where the noise is coming from, and then how to go about replacing the tensioner with the new. This is what the tensioner looks like. This is the tensioner assembly. You can change just the gear with the bearing in it if you choose to. I don't do that though. I change the entire assembly because it is a 2004. It's got a lot of miles on it, so we are going to change the entire assembly. The way we're going to pinpoint where the noise is coming from is we're going to start the car up. We're going to take a screwdriver and we're going to touch this bolt right here, not the side here as it's rotating, just the bolt right here. And when you touch that bolt, you put the screwdriver up to your ear and you'll hear the buzzing noise coming from this bearing here. You may be able to hear it with the car just idling too. We'll see. I'll bring you up there now. I'm going to show you what tools you're going to need and how to go about doing it. You are going to need to take the power steering pump off and move that to the side. We're not going to drain it, we're just going to relocate it. We're going to disconnect the reservoir where you would actually fill the power steering fluid, and we're going to move that slightly to the side also. We're going to remove the fan belt, and then we're going to unbolt the tensioner itself. There's probably three, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's three bolts. One through the center, one on the end here, one on the end here, and I don't think this one is actually used to secure the tensioner assembly. I think the power steering pump connects to this, but we'll see when we get in there. So, all right, let me bring you up there. I'll show you the tools, and we're going to get started. Okay, this is an example of what tools you're going to need. We're going to need some kind of a drop light or a light so we can actually see what we're doing in there. We're going to need some sockets, a couple of ratchets. Very long extensions are the best. It's easier to work with the longer extension. We're going to use a long screwdriver like this to try to determine where that noise is coming from. A couple of wrenches, and this is actually made with that real long shaft on it so that we can actually get the tensioner assembly to release with very little effort. If you don't have this, you don't need to use it. You can just use a regular 14 or 15, whatever size it is. It's probably going to be a 14, but we'll see. So, all right, let's get over there. I'll show you what we're going to do then, and we'll go from there. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to disconnect this fan belt here. We need to take the belt off so we can actually remove the belt, and then we can remove the power steering. Down here is where we're going to put our wrench on here so we can release the tension, so we can take the fan belt off of the car and get it out of the way. If you don't have a schematic of where the fan belt goes, now would be a good time to either take a picture of it or draw out a little schematic so you know where the belts go, because later on when you try to put this together, you may wind up forgetting how it goes back together. I'll show you the trick too you can do also is you can usually just disconnect the belt and tie it off to the side with a bungee cord so it doesn't pop off the rest of the pulleys, but we'll see how that goes. We're going to take the power steering reservoir, we're going to just pull it up and it comes right off. Then we're going to unbolt the power steering pump. There's probably a 12 millimeter here, and there's another 12 millimeter down over here. We're going to relocate the pump out of the way so we can take that off. So sounds easy, but let's get started and we'll see how it goes. Okay, I hope you can see okay. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to come in here with our a tool to remove the tensioner assembly here so we can take the fan belt off so we can work with it. Okay, so now we just push down on the tool, and we can take this belt off of the power steering, just like that, and then we'll let this back up. And we're going to take this tool out so we have a little bit more room to work down here. Put it off to the side for now. We're going to take our belt. Now, if you don't want to lose the belt where it falls down over there, you can just take the belt and you can pull it out of the way, just like this. And now you have plenty of room to work in there. What I normally do is I'll take a bungee cord and just hook it on here like this, and then bring it around. Just to hold the belt out of the way. Now we're going to take out that bolt down there. It's a 12 millimeter, and this 12 millimeter right here. Now you know I like my swivel head ratchets, so that's what I'm using to crack it loose. Now remember, we took our power steering reservoir out of the way so we can just move it around as needed. And once you break it loose, then you can just take the bolts out. Now the bolts are the same whether it's the upper or the lower bolt. It's both the same anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We're just going to make sure they're both the exact same length they are. All right, now we're just going to take this out of the way. Just like this, so we can work down in here. We don't need to really go any further with it. And then we're going to take out the, I'll bring you in, I'll show you real close. You'll see the bolt down in the face over here. We're going to take out that bolt right there. We're going to take out the one in here. And there's another one down on the bottom. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. But it's down underneath here. We're going to take those bolts out, and we'll take that tensioner assembly out. These should all be 12 millimeter as well. See if I get a light in here so you can see a little better possibly. I don't know if you're going to see any better like that, but we'll see. And the one down the bottom is a little bit tighter to get to. We're going to use a 12 millimeter deep socket. Broke that loose. And now we have it loose. Once they're loose, we can take them out by hand. This is the only one that's a little bit tight to get to. So you want to have a magnet there just in case you drop something, as I just did. I always take the most difficult one out first. Now if you think you're going to drop it, don't even take a chance, just get down here with your magnet. You can take your bolt out. Just make sure your bolts are the same length, and as you see, they're two different lengths, so we make sure that these go back correctly where they came out. And I will take our last bolt out here. Take this last bolt out, we'll match it up to make sure. So two of them are the same, and the one is different. And then we'll just take our tensioner assembly out, just like this. Match it up with your new assembly just to make sure it's correct. And as you can see, it is. What we're going to do is we're going to take the tensioner and put it back down where we previously took it out. And now before we do anything, we're going to catch the bolts in here loosely, just to catch them a couple of threads. You want to make sure that the tensioner is still loose so you can get everything back in where it belongs. Because if you tighten up one bolt and you have to get the other bolts in there, they may not line up with the thread in the back of the bracket. All right, and then we're going to put our last bolt in now. Now remember, it was in a fairly tight spot. You can use your magnet like this to put it back in so you don't drop it. Because if you drop it, you'll be pulling your hair out trying to get it from wherever you drop it from. And then once you have it in there, you can just hold it with your finger, take your magnet out, and then we'll screw it back in. And then once we catch it by hand, then we can turn it in with the socket all the way in. And now that you have all three of them caught, you can tighten it all down. The bracket. All right, so we're going to tighten all three of them. They're all tight. Next thing we're going to do is put a power steering pump back onto its location where we previously removed it from. Then we're going to screw it in by hand. We're going to get both of them caught before we tighten anything up. And once you have all the bolts caught and screwed in as far as you can, then we can tighten it up with the ratchet. Again, remember, you're screwing it into aluminum. You don't want to over tighten it and strip it out. Okay, and that's it. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our belt. We're going to pull our belt back up where it belongs, around the tensioner. Now you remember we had that tool that we put in there, right? We're going to put that tool back on there. And then we'll put our drive belt back on. Like this. We want to make sure that the belt is in the groove where it belongs here. And then we'll release our tool. And now, before you do anything further, you want to make sure that everything is connected up properly. You want to make sure your drive belt is on properly here and here, here. You want to make sure that the belt didn't slide off, even on the crankshaft down over there. As you can see, it's nice and tight. And that's it. We're pretty much all set. All right, so now the car is ready to start up. But before we do that, we're going to put our power steering reservoir back in the bracket down here where it came from, just just like that. And now we're going to start it up, and we'll make sure that the belt is properly installed, and we'll make sure that that buzzing noise is gone that we talked about. Make sure everything is out of the way before you start it so you don't lose anything. Fan belt is on. We're going to make sure that the belt is on the grooves here and here. Everything is just like it's supposed to be. Now remember I told you about that buzzing noise that you're getting? You would take this screwdriver, you would put it on here like this, and you put your earlobe to this end over here to see if you can hear any buzzing. I can tell already it's nice and quiet. Okay, so that's it. It's nice and quiet now. All right, so that's it. We'll shut this off. Okay, so that's it. You're all set. All right, fan belt's on. You want to make sure that the belt is still in the grooves where it's supposed to be, that nothing popped off and nothing is out of the way or out of the or not properly set in those grooves. All right, that's it. You're good to go. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.